Hello, Professor. Hello, everyone. Greetings of the day. Myself, Clancy McMahon. Here, my teammates I going to I are going to present sentiment analysis, which is the third assignment of data mining tools and techniques subject of big data analytics course. So, introducing my teammates, we are three of them: Harsh Patel, Shankar, Ram, and Clancy McMahon. And as I have said, I am Clancy. We are going to submit sentiment assignment. So first of all, talking about the assignment, our project or assignment contains mainly three parts, which are introduction, technologies or tools used for the project, and live demo. So my part is introduction. So I will be providing the introduction, and then I will be handing over the presentation to my colleagues. So in this assignment, we have worked as a team. Harsh has played his role as a data analyst, Shankar has worked as a programmer, and I, Clancy McMahon, have worked as a business analyst. Giving our small introduction, back in South Africa, Harsh also has worked as a data analyst as well as a developer. Shankar has already worked as a programmer back in India, and I have worked as a network technician back in India. Well, talking about the technologies or tools used for the assignment, we have used MongoDB, Visual Studio Code, Beautiful Soup, Free Parser, Python, and Anaconda library in order to complete our assignment or project. So, talking about RSS feed parser, an RSS feed is a file that contains a summary of updates from a website. The updates are often in the form of a list of articles with links. RSS stands for really simple syndication, and it offers an easy way to stay up to date on new content from websites you care about. Well, here are some of the links from which we have gathered the data. We have worked on it, which are some of the well-known news channels, sites. So here I would like to show you sites from which we have gathered the data. So this is the CBC news. Then the global news. Then the CTV news. And finally, the star.com. So here I have shown you the sites from which we have gathered the data and worked on. And now I would like to, and now my part is done, and I would like to hand over the presentation to my colleague Shankar. Thank you.
Hello, Professor. My name is Shankar Rampatha and this is my presentation for sentimental analysis. So, as my colleague Clancy has already told you, he gave us the necessary website to parse the data from, which is these CBC, Global News, CTV, Star, and my colleague forgot to mention that we also had CNN. we basically went to 5 news channels because the data we were getting were low in number. Like we were just parsing the top story RSS feeds and there were only like 10. Like most news channels just post 10 top stories. So we only had little bit data, so we had to move on to multiple news channels. So basically this is our workflow. So first we got the data from the RSS feeds, then we load them into pandas data frames, and then we use analysis was done using the pandas data frames because as you know we can perform a lot of multiple sorting and filtering operations using pandas data frame, which was done by our colleague Harsh. So my task was basically web scraping and cleaning the data. So this is the code. These are the header files I imported, I used, and sorry, I skip forward a bit, and I'll demonstrate it to you right now. So, first of all, we need to define our header files, and for that, I use Beautiful Soup, Pandas, Feed Parser, Vader, PyMongo, and JSON is for the storage to the cloud. And first we run this, and then this is the data scraping part. So first we define a Beautiful Soup object, and then this is the URL link. So basically we went through the URLs one by one. So first we went to the CBC's URL, then we define the columns which are news outlet, title, summary, and published, and then we use the CBC data frame and then load the data frame with the columns, and then we parse the data inside C and save it inside CBC news. Now CBC news, we use a for loop to loop through each item in the database, like each item inside CBC news. So we go for news item in CBC news of items. Each like CBC data frame is equal to data frame dot append news outlet is CBC since it's CBC's. So we just append the news outlet by ourselves. So we define news outlet as a string CBC. Then we add the title, the summary, the published date, and the link of the article. So if I run this code right now and run this code right now, it will get another data. Like earlier one was done yesterday. This is the one right now. So it shows all the data we received. And same for each news agency we have used. So now next goes to global news, and this is the link for the global news top stories feed, and we run this and run this. So now you can see is England lifting COVID measures too soon, which is posted on Monday 12 June 2001 at 9 o'clock there, I don't know. And this moves on like global, and then we move on to CNN. And if I run the code right now and then execute, you can see CNN is also saying the same thing. Okay, wait, what? Okay, sorry. The link is different right now. I'll change it right now. Okay, top stories. Control C. And okay, this is a live demonstration. As you can see, if I just come here and change it and then run the code again, okay, there is another. Okay. Hello, Professor. Sorry, I had a small error, so I had to pause the video in the middle. So anyway, I continue on, and this goes on to CTV data frame, and same I give CTV's link. Then using feed parser, I pass the link, get all the data, save it inside CTV news, and then using a for loop through each item in the data, and then save that inside this data frame called CTV hyphen underscore data frame. And I append the news outlet, the title of the news item, the summary of the news item, the published link, and the article, the website link to the article, and I save it all inside a data frame. And same I do for star also. Go to star, give the star URL, then using feed parser, I loop through each item inside the data and append it into the star data frame. And this is how I did the data collection and curation part. I collected all the data, saved it inside different data frames, and then I did the sentiment too. I used NLTK and Vader to just get the sentiment for each data frame, that is for CBCs, global, CNN, CTV, and star. And then I made a data frame with the sentiment attached to the data frame, and I passed my work on to my colleague Hirsch. And that's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shankar. I'll pick it from here. My name is Harsh, and I'm working on this project as a data analyst, and my duties and roles were to perform analysis on the data and also store the data or create the data warehouse. So let's begin. First of all, I took the data and created it. Sorry, I created first the polarity. I defined polarity for the data frames that we were working with. That is three polarities, that is positive, negative, and a neutral polarity for each posts that were being read through the feed parser. And then I took the edited data, that is the processed data, and saved it in a data warehouse. In our project, I used MongoDB as the data warehouse. So here's a few connection snippets, screenshots that I will be demonstrating it live in a few moments. This is how the data frame looked like after adding the three polarities, that is positive, negative, and neutral, as well as the compound. So let's begin with the demo. So first I took the CBS CDF, that is the data frame, and added three new columns to it, that is neutral, positive, and negative, as our three base score meter, that I'll call it for this example, polarity meter, sorry. And there we can see the data frame executes the command properly and gives us the polarity of a single data set that has been entered by row and columns as well. So we can see the first title, that's Canada Pandemic Warning System, was don't know what, and it has the sentiments score posted out, as well as the positive, negative, and the neutrality of that statement that was published that day. And at the end, it shows if the statement overall has more positive or negative. In this case, at index 0, sentiment, the first sentiment has negative results. I'll go to the next data frame, that is the global news channel that we used, and the results remain the same. The execution process is the same that we used for each cell. There it is, and in range, there we are. So after adding the polarities, we had to merge all the data into one. So I had to concatenate all the different data sets into one data table before uploading it to our data warehouse. So had to run these two commands. There we go. All this, we have like more than 59 data sets like right now. And next was exporting the data or preparing the data to be posted in MongoDB. And since MongoDB works or receives data as JSON objects, first of all I had to change this data frame data into JSON data objects first of all. And here's a simple script that I executed. And before that I had to get the neutral headlines for today. For example, for RSS news feeds, this is the neutral headlines today. Then as well as I had to output negative headlines from it, that is after performing the sentiment analysis. So here is the code that shows the negative headlines for today. Next was the positive headlines overall of today. So there it is from the data warehouse that we are having currently. Yep. Next is I had even tried to export this data as a CSV within the group, so I had to run that command. Here is a brief explanation on how MongoDB connection are. After that, I had to change the data set or my data frames that we are working with into JSON data objects. Here is the commands that changed it. You can see it has the list kind of format and it has been changed into a JSON data object. After changing it to a JSON data object, I had to connect the database to newsfeed database that is in MongoDB. And after that I had to print out DB that shows we have connected to the database successfully, and had to execute insert the newsfeed into the database. That shows, oh yep, there it is. The first data set has been posted successfully. Thank you everyone. If anyone has any questions, can reach out to us. Thank you.